Start. Hi, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Extra Feature Interview. Today I have not one, but two. One is only a writer, and that's PJ Starks, but he also co-directs with another
Hey,
guy named Eric Hutchison. Hutchison, I'm going to screw it up. Doesn't matter. Welcome to the show either way. The film is New Fear's Eve.
that's right.
So what? Whose idea was this first? I'm guessing it's PJ because he's a writer and he's wearing a Jason shirt in the video, which you can check out on YouTube. So where did this idea come from?
It came from as simple as just coming up with the title. I
Okay.
guess my ADHD brain, I'm constantly getting weird inspiration from all over the place. And I was just driving one day and the title popped into my head. I didn't have a story or didn't know what the movie would be about, but we were filming a different movie at the time called 13 Slays Till Christmas. And as usual, I go to Eric and I'm like, hey, I've got this great idea for this movie. And he's like, oh my God, can we not finish the movie we're currently working on? So, of course, I keep playing around with the idea in my head, put it on the shelf after I kind of come up with a basic concept. And then that's the genesis of where it came from. It just
That's
the
great.
title popped into my head. I didn't know what the story was, where it would go, anything like that.
So Eric, after you finished the script, did you realize how much kills he has put in this thing?
Well, to be honest with you, when I read the script, the kills weren't the surprise to me.
Oh,
I'm used to that with us. This was supposed to be more of a ambiance slasher, thriller, killer, blood, gore, and that was the next level we were going to with this. And then he handed me a script, and I read it, and I'm like, I don't know if we can cuss on here. I'm like, what the
go
f
ahead.
this? What the fuck is this? And I called him, and I'm like, dude, this is a freaking comedy. I thought you were writing a horror movie. What's going on here? I didn't dislike it. It just threw me off because he really didn't give me a heads up. And I read it, and I'm like, dude, this is not at all what I expected. And but I mean, the kills weren't that many in the beginning when I read the script either. A lot of that was added on due to the crowdfunding that happened through the Indiegogo with people being in scenes with Dave and Felicity and getting killed in the film. So a lot of those got added, and we had to have a meeting and cut that off because it was getting too many. Um, Coming up with kills and then finding the time to do them became an issue, so we had to cut it off.
Hold on, I want to go back to this. So this is an Indiegogo film, which I'm sure I missed that in my writing you sent me. So people could pay how much money to be killed?
Uh, to
It was $500.
Right. And then what was it to be in the scene with Dave and Felissa?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was like $250 to be in a scene with Felissa, to be in a scene with Dave. That really wasn't the being the scene stuff wasn't necessarily an issue. With the kills became an issue because in the original initial final draft, it was there was only 19 kills in the movie. But then and I think it may have been Dave who came up with the idea, hey, you should open up the option to allow people to come in to be get killed in the film. Now they didn't get to choose how they died, but they could get the option of being killed in the movie. So we did 500 thinking maybe a few, if any, would actually get it. By the time we hit 23 people picking up that perk, we decided we have to cut it off. And part of that
Wow.
became it. I love gore and kills and creative, inventive, elaborate ways of dispatching victims. But it was getting to a point where I was struggling to come up with ways to organically inject more murder into the movie where it made sense. Because that's the one thing I hate when you have to force something into a film based off the crowdfunding thing. Like if you can create a perk that enhances the movie through additional funding but doesn't affect the film or the experience for the viewers. That's why like I hate the whole act in the fit pay to act in the movie thing because when you do that you open the door for anybody including people that are terrible to come in and be in the film, and all that does is hurt the movie. Like it's great that you get additional funding, but what's the point if it's just going to hurt your film because it lessens or cheapens the experience for people watching it? So we didn't do anything like you could be in a scene with, but it wasn't necessarily that you were acting, you were just a part of the scene. So it didn't really give anybody a role per se, but we did take that extra step. It was like everybody who did get to be in a scene with Dave and Felissa, it was that big conference room scene. So everybody that was in that scene, it was like, we had polos made for them. They got a name badge that had their picture on it, and they were given a character name and stuff like that. So there was all these little nuances that helped make it more special for them, and it enhanced their experience without actually affecting the film, I would say negatively or even positively. The only real full positive benefit was the fact that we were able to help get the film funded through their support.
Okay, Eric, PJ talks a lot, so we're going to give you all the questions to start, and then you
Yes,
can
he.
pick them
All
off.
right. Yes, he does.
Which is fine. I love it, but I don't want to forget you. So, do you guys are co-directing the film? I understand that. Who is really in charge? Is it you or PJ, or is it a really cooperative?
With the directing part of it.
Yeah, so the writing, obviously, PJ's written the script. You can't
Right.
really
Right.
fix that.
Yeah. So on the directing side part of it, PJ didn't wanted to step away from directing. We are both trying to delegate more stuff out to other people, and because PJ does the editing as well, I do a lot of all the paperwork and the business behind the scenes stuff is where a lot of my stuff comes in. I mean, I have written and I have directed like a short for 13 Slays, but he's like, well, go ahead and direct. And I was hesitant at first, and I thought, well, I need to step up, put my big boy pants on and do this. And um, it started becoming an issue because I had no storyboard, even though I knew the script. I'd never fully done directed an entire feature. I'd only done a small short, which PJ actually helped me with. He should have got co-director on that because it was the first time I did it. But it just started becoming a problem when people were coming up and like asking me questions, and like PJ would walk away to go do something else, and I really didn't have a shot list. I didn't have a storyboard, and I just knew in the back of my mind, and I've worked with PJ enough, and it's nothing against PJ. PJ wrote it, like you said, it's PJ's baby. He knows how he wants it to look. He knows what shot and I don't know that. So it started to become a point where I was like, look, man, I was like, I'm not sure what you're going to want here. I don't want to miss something. And then people started coming to PJ and going, man, who's directing this? You or him? One minute
Oh,
you're calling action, and 1 minute I'm calling action. And it started to become an issue. So if PJ and I talked one day, and we decided to co-direct. So it didn't really get split up this way, but with the action parts of it and more of the special effects, PJ knew how he wanted it. So basically, I more worked with dialogue and the actors. With this being our first feature, we actually had time. We're able to this time get together and actually do rehearsing with the actors. So I was pretty well involved in that. Now I'm not saying more than PJ, but I kind of set it up. We kind of did that, something we've never been able to do before. So I kind of took control of most of just the dialogue and the actors and stuff like that, where special effects and special shots that he wanted, action he did, and it seemed to work a lot smoother.
okay. So you would do like the boardroom scene. That would be you, is what I'm understanding. And PJ
In
do,
a sense, he knew what shots he wanted and how he set that up. That I want to say that scene right there was him.
okay. So okay, I am listening to you, so I'm getting a little confused. PJ, at the beginning of the film, there's a lot of kills happening. That's you, or is that Eric?
That's him.
So that was me. There was, like Eric had said, there was originally I had little to no desire to direct. I wanted to just produce because I feel like that's um, become my sweet spot, and um, I wanted him to be able to have that opportunity to really like step up and take charge And it wasn't that he wasn't doing that, but it was a situation where when we were on set, I was there as a producer writer and he was deferring certain things to me. And yeah, like he said, it was confusing some of the actors. So when I came on as director, basically what we did was is we worked together because we would have certain ideas for the way scenes should go down, and then we would kind of come together as to how we thought it would work best. Now,
Okay.
obviously, there were certain scenes in the film because I had written it that were written based off real life scenarios.
I'm
So I
getting there.
knew a certain way that they needed to be done. So then some of those scenes, which were dialogue driven, I would step in and say, okay, well, this scene, I would work with the actors. And then there were other scenes where I would step back when it was dialogue driven, and Eric would take control and work with the actors and stuff like that. With the special effects stuff, I did do a majority of that. Is because I'm very much a visual person, so I worked very closely with Alex, who was our
Okay.
director of photography, because I knew exactly how they needed to be shot in order to pull off the effects more effectively. Now that's not to say that Alex didn't shoot the film. Like I wasn't telling him how to shoot the film nonstop, but there were certain shots and things that in my head, the way I saw it, because I like to Michael Bay a lot of stuff, so I like a lot of movement and things of that nature. But so really, as far as Eric and I co-directing, it was really a lot of crossover because there were even certain moments when we're doing special effects scenes where Eric would jump in and say, "Hey, what about this?" Or, "Hey, look at this angle right here. Like this looks really cool. I don't know if you've seen this." And then we're like, "Oh shit, yeah, that does look really good." So the co-directing part really just was the two of us working together to try to pull out the best performances, the best shots. And even though we kind of went in specifically where it was like, okay, you're going to try to work specifically with action scenes and special effects, and I'm going to work more with just the dialogue driven stuff. Even that didn't 100% work out because there was so much crossover with us working together that it really was like we have our hand in pretty much every scene to some degree and in certain points.
Perfect. Okay, let's get more into the film now. I think I got it what I was going for. Okay, the costume of the killer. Was that whose idea was that? Where did it come from? How'd you put it together?
So it was my idea. Um, it came from when I wrote the script. The pandemic was towards the tail end, but it was still in effect, and plague doctors were everywhere. And I'm a true crime fanatic, so I love Jack the Ripper. And I thought, what's more iconic than the silhouette of Jack the Ripper? So marrying the two ideas together of a plague doctor and Jack the Ripper, you get the doctor. And then just not by happenstance, but by design, you now get his MO. So he kills people using medical instrumentation. So then right there, he has his way of dispatching victims. And then the look came out of Eric got with a friend of ours named BJ Emick. BJ talked to me, and then Eric threw his 2 cents in on certain aspects. BJ illustrated the doctor, and then from the illustration, we found a mask maker who then made the masks specifically for the movie. And
Hold
then
on.
we worked.
Where do you find a mask maker on Facebook Marketplace? Like, let's. Where do you find that? I guess
Well,
I've never met somebody. Hey, I make masks on the side. So help me out a bit more. Where did you find a mask maker?
I have a friend named Ashley that I went to school with, and now she like her and her husband have this business where they custom make stuff,
Okay.
like merchandise, like tumblers and things of that nature. Well, her brother Sean, who he lives in, is it Louisville, Eric?
Yes, he lives in Louisville, Sean. Yes.
Okay, so her brother Sean is a mask maker. So when I was talking to Ashley, she was like, well, what happened was is we put out like a call for mask makers.
Right. I could see that, but
and that's how, and so we ended up getting like 3 or 4 people who
Oh,
were optioning the ability to make the mask for the doctor. So what we did was is we got with all of them and we said, okay, do a mock-up, just like a basic what you would consider like, because we didn't have the full illustration in the mask made yet, or to what it would look like. So we were like, give us some kind of mock-up. And that way, that was our way of saying we know you have the capability to do it. And then they did. So these mask makers all took their time to like create a mask, send it to us, and then we picked the mask maker who made the mask we liked the best. And then by then, we had the actual illustration for the mask finished. We said, okay, you got the job. We sent the illustration to Sean, and then Sean made the mask based off of the drawings. And when we sent the drawings to him, BJ actually did like a full 360 view of the mask. So you saw all sides of the mask in order. So when he made it, he would have all the aspects of what it should look like.
no, that should have been your Indiegogo thing for the next one, like sign masks. It's kind of cool. So, I mean, stuff like that. Okay, so how many masks were made, and how long did it take to make them?
What do we give him 3 months, PJ is what it was. 3 months, and there
Yeah,
was four of
yeah,
them.
probably. Yeah, there were 4 masks made. We had two
And
hero masks and two stunt masks.
I think it
Okay,
ended up being a 3 month is what he gave us as a turnaround, and he showed us stuff along the way that we approved. And then once we kind of proved what he was doing, he would show us different styles. Like one, he was doing smaller, skinnier straps, some wider straps, the way he was doing some things. And then we proved. And then next thing we know, we saw the final product and we were like, there you go. That's
that's
it.
excellent. Okay, I want to go over a couple locations: house location, office location, and bar location. I mean, I know there are a few more, but those are the big ones. So, whose house?
Whose house?
Yes.
Or
Which house scene, A?
Oh, whichever house scene you want. I mean, I know there's a couple, but there's no house? Did I get it wrong?
yeah,
Uh,
it's I'm trying to think.
now
I
if
don't
you
think they're
Right at the beginning. Okay, don't
now
worry
if,
about it.
so if you're talking about like if you're talking about like the opening shots where everybody's
Yes.
getting killed, a lot
yeah.
of those locations,
Oh,
um,
Shauna,
yeah, it was so Shauna Fields, who's our she
that's
was our
right.
wardrobe, huh?
I was saying, yeah, that's right. That threw me
Oh,
off
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So um, yeah, a lot of those shots, like the kitchen shot, the
Yes.
living room where the face gets
Yes.
ripped off,
Okay,
that
good.
stuff.
So I'm
Okay,
not
Yes.
okay, okay.
okay. I'm like I'm like, am I wrong?
Well,
Was it an apartment?
I think what threw us off was you said house is, and then it is the
Oh,
only the opening scene is the only house in the film.
sometimes there's more than one house,
But
so
when,
I just
but
like to
then the
put a
but
preference.
then the
Right.
garage, but then there's the garage scene with the mom and the daughter, which is the same house.
Okay. See, I
Yeah.
don't know that.
So that is that's where that yeah. So yeah, we're on board. But
Okay.
that was the only house we utilized.
Okay. Now the office, is it the same office the whole time? Because I mean you have the boardroom scene and you use I think everything in this office. Like every location
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
use, you've
Yeah.
used it. Now whose office is it or did you rent one?
Actually, it is a office building not far from where I live. It is there. It's a two part. About two-thirds of it is Kelly. God, about said Kelly Wilmore. Um,
Keller Williams.
Keller Williams and Storm, and the other like third is Storm Insurance. We had the full ride with anything we wanted outside, inside for the Keller Williams part, but on the Storm Insurance side, they only wanted us in the hallway due to kind of like HIPAA laws. They were afraid we were going to see people's information, people's names, and stuff like that. So they restricted us to the hallway, and we only did a couple of scenes
I
actually
lo
really in the hallway.
Is that when my favorite person gets taken out in that hallway?
Maybe.
I
Maybe.
think it is. I think my favorite person in the movie, which I was upset you took out, was in that hallway. The
Um,
bar location. You spend a little bit of time there.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the pub in Owensboro. It's still there. It's still operating. We ended up filming there 3 times, PJ, I think. We had to go back.
No, well,
Uh,
we only
well, we
filmed
filmed
in
outside
there.
though too.
Yeah, we only filmed there once, but then when we filmed the big chase scene where they run across the street
Hmm.
downtown and all that, we used that same location to film to like oh I can't brain farting on the word, but where we set up housed all of our equipment and stuff like that. Like that's what we use the location for. But actually filming
Mhm.
in the bar, we only filmed there one day.
Okay.
Yeah. But
You,
real quick, I want to go back to the office because
yes.
while we filmed a majority of the stuff that you see in the film all in the same office building, I would say maybe 80% was in that office. The rest of the shots at the one shot at the end of the movie where they go into like the break room,
Yes.
that was at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is a
Oh,
totally separate building
Yeah.
altogether. And then the ending fight scene that takes place in what looks like a maintenance area was actually in a loading dock location um, on the campus of Kentucky Wesleyan College, which is the same place we filmed the emergency room, the outdoor emergency room scene, and then the all the college campus stuff. That's all the same location.
okay. Your face here, underwear made me laugh. Where'd that come from?
Um, I mean, that was just an idea that popped into my head when I was writing the script because like the whole misdirect is that he's been waiting to go into work and everything, and then he gets out of the car and then realizes that he didn't have his pants on, which doesn't 100% make sense, but it's still funny, you know.
It was funny.
So yeah, so that was where that came from. It was just um,
It just fit the character
Fair
yeah.
perfectly.
enough.
Yeah.
It's funny and a human. Like, this has got to be based on some reality. It made me laugh so hard. It wasn't funny. So, is this
You're talking
based
about
on someone you know?
what, the underwear part?
No, it's funny and a human line.
Oh,
It's in the, I think the boardroom guy, chairman, says it to the guy. It's funny and it's a human. It was just such an off pessimistic remark. It made me laugh.
to be honest, so okay, when he so Dave Sheridan played the Mr. Dugan. When he gets up and he's over there like yelling at everybody,
Yeah.
all of that was ad lib.
Oh, it was great. I thought you
Yeah,
wrote
yeah,
Yeah.
it. I'm
yeah.
like, this has to be a real scene.
Everything that when he's sitting down, that was all scripted. But then when he stood up and then walked over there, the way it was written in the script was, you know, Mr. Dugan stands up and then begins berating the room. And the reason I didn't write any dialogue is because I knew Dave was really good at like riffing and ad libbing. So, and we had kind of talked to him about that ahead of time. So he was just going to base the insults and the comments and stuff that he came up with. Just he was going to read the room.
Okay.
So really, so we just let him have the floor. So when he stood up and went over there and was saying all that stuff, that was all based. That was just him coming up with things. Now, what's funny was when he makes the comment, um, does anybody know what we sell? What do we sell? He kept asking that, like when we were on set, he was like, "What does this company make?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I mean, that was never determined. It's like it's because it's not important to the script. So I never came up with any idea of what Hooper Industries actually produces. So he wasn't the only one who asked that comment, especially like when we filmed that scene at the end of the movie, because we have all those boxes that are stacked up
Yes.
everywhere that have the Hooper Industries logo on it. And everybody's like, oh, so everybody who'd been asking the whole time saw all that. And they're like, oh, so what's supposed to be in the boxes? And I'm like, I don't know. Whatever you think would go in the fucking boxes, that's what this company sells.
Love
Like, there's
it.
no definitive answer to this. So that was one of the reasons why Dave said that whenever in that scene, because he kept asking and there was no answer. So he threw that in there as kind of almost an in joke from behind the scenes uh, conversations that had taken place.
When he did the ad libbing about um the shade of the coffee using the actors, and then he gets the one actor's name wrong. Nobody has ever said anything to us about that. When
Oh,
he
it's
said
funny.
Michael Jordan, if you notice, he says Michael Jordan's Thriller.
Yes.
Yeah.
I asked for Beyonce, and what did I got?
Yes.
Kelly
It was
Washington.
great. It was
Yeah, and that's
funny
all.
though.
Yeah, but I mean, when he said, but I don't. Nobody has ever said anything in any kind of text, email, come up to us personal. Nobody has ever said he said Michael Jordan instead of Michael Jackson.
Who
Nobody.
cares? It was funny. I thought he
Oh
was just
yeah,
making a
no, I think
riff.
it's great. I think it's hilarious. But I would have thought somebody by now would have
Oh,
been,
ah,
you know,
he's riffing. Like it's funny. You're
oh yeah.
laughing so hard at that scene. You don't care.